morning, most amazing artist.
Good morning.
We're gonna make an iris. It's the Tennessee state flower. We'll start with a little stem that comes up from the bottom. So anywhere you want, you're gonna make your stem. Ours is gonna be a little bit smaller since we're gonna cut them and make a collage with them. Your stem can follow up a little bit. It could bend or it could go straight. Then you can see there's this little bulge. If you turn it, it looks like a rainbow and a smile. So we're gonna make that parenthesis kind of shape, or if you turn it and want to see the rainbow and smile, you can. If you're ahead and you want to start shading it in, the edges will be a little bit darker, have more value, so that it looks rounded. So you go dark to light. You'd also do that on the stem. So some of you guys who have already done this, you might want to add some value on the edges to make your stem look round. Then our first petal is kind of like a big U shape like this, but it's wobbly, right? It has a wobbly line, so we're gonna go wobble, wobble, wobble. And depending on how it's blowing in the wind, it could look all different kinds of ways. Then you have one that goes this way with a U that goes this way. Hi, come on in.
Do you want some Girl Scout cookies?
Oh, not right now, okay? Because we're doing a lesson. Thank you. So we're gonna come like this with that U shape and then do a wobble, 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 wobble. And then we're gonna do a shape that goes like this, kind of like arched rainbow. And then if you wanna draw the whole thing, you can, and then go back around with a wobbly line. I'm doing it dark so you can see it, but you can do it light, of course. Anytime that you want to go back and add some darkness on the edges, you could do that if you're waiting. You can see there's like a lot of texture, and this part looks a little bit darker right here, and this part looks a little darker, and then there's some like darker areas like where there's creases in the flower. You can put them wherever you decide to put them is okay, because your flower is not gonna ever look the same depending on how it's blowing in the breeze. There's these little lines that kind of come from the creases. They get darker, like more where the middle of the flower is. And so even though this is the middle, like you don't see the other half of the petal. You just see like the part that's turned towards you. And this might be the middle here, but they have, you know, different ways that the petal is moving, so it might not look perfectly centered. This petal. I would also add darkness to the edges, because just like with any round thing, when it goes away from your eye, it looks like it has a darker value because it's bending. So you can add more value to the edges right here. Sometimes this is not like a professional sketching pencil, but even though it's not, it still can kind of like blend with your fingers. So sometimes I like to do that. There's some extra ones in the back, so we're gonna do one that goes like this. So kind of back here, wish, 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 wish. If you wanna draw it with a straight line first, you can. And then there's the second one over here. This one is folded. So if you wanna make it look folded, you would do a line like that, and then a line that kind of comes down like this, and then the back part, and then the other back part. So that's how I made it look folded, but you can do it just as a U shape that's coming from the back. You don't have to do it like that. You can add some value in the inside. There's like that white part that flips back around right here. So you could leave that lighter if you wanted to. Anything that you want to make easier, you can make easier, because your flower can look any way. I'm just darkening up all the edges Maybe adding a little bit of lines on this part. Darkening up the edges over here. This one has like a U part that comes in, so if you wanted to make that, you could kind of come in more and then back out and erase that part. And then make a line that goes down where you see that petal. That's just extra. You don't have to do that. If that seems too hard, just definitely skip it. The leaves look like a dip and then a rainbow. So kind of like that slight smile and then the rainbow. So you're gonna go, you can turn it this way if you want to see it better. So down, up, and then it could go behind your plant. Down, and then up, and then meet it at the tip, like that. This side, same thing, you can dip it and then rise it. Dip it, then rise it. You can make another one that comes back here. If this one's in front of the other one, then you'd erase the one that's behind. The veins of an iris flower are like these straight lines. So you can add some of those. Where would the value be the darkest? The outside or the inside? Yeah, so we're gonna just make it a little bit darker. We'll make it look a little bit more realistic by adding some of that darkness. On the edge. A lot of famous artists have iris pictures. Van Gogh has irises in a vase. He has irises in a field. Monet did irises around his pond. His famous pond drawings. All right, so we're gonna do the bud, the iris that's not quite open. So this one actually, look how it comes from the same stem. So if you wanted to, we could draw it coming from this place right here. It's gonna be behind that petal. So we just poke it up a little bit over here. Then you can see there's a rainbow and a smile for this little part. And then another one poking from this way. If you're ahead of everyone else, you might wanna take some time to do the edges. And if you need extra time to draw it, you can take that extra time to draw. Then we're going to make the little petal. So this side is smooth, so we're gonna come up with a smooth side. But then the middle of the petal is a little bit wavy. So you could make that one smooth too. Or, so first I'll make it smooth, and then you can keep it like that. Or you can make it wavy. The other side is smooth. So we're gonna make a smooth side. And if you wanna make a little bit of wave on the edge, you can make it kind of come down with a wave. And then a smooth side like that. So I just connected it with that little smooth dash. You can add some lines, maybe like a little bit curvy. Some value on the edges, some lines on the inside part. Could even maybe add another little petal in the back. Add some value on the edge of the iris over here. Maybe some darkness kind of towards the bottom. See how like where it's coming out, bursting out, it's like a little bit darker because there's more shadow there. So you can add some more shadow, more darkness at the bottom. Think about like not maybe is exactly how the flower looks, but how it would look pretty in your drawing. So like where would it look pretty to add some more darkness? Where would it look pretty to add some more lines? Art doesn't always have to be exact. It could be, you know, where things look nice. So sometimes your art looks better when you just kind of look away from the picture for a minute and think about what you think would look beautiful or interesting. And of course, if you want it to be very exact, you can always just keep looking at the picture. If this was a real iris, I would pay more attention to it than a picture of the iris, because that kind of would be more inspirational, and you could turn it around and see different ways that it looks and then pick a way that looks most interesting to you and then draw that. So if it was a real iris, I would look at it more often. And the irises are not in season right now, so I don't think you can buy them at the grocery store or flower shops right now. Just adding some more lines wherever it looks pretty. Maybe some more textures. You can have broken lines too, like dashes kind of. That kind of looks nice. These school pencils are a number 2 pencil. You actually can get different colors of gray pencil, different values. So it's all gray, all the same color. But if you had number 4, it would be a little bit darker. If you had a 0, it would be lighter color, lighter gray. So it's really fun to sketch with those. So I've ordered some of those for Art Club to get to use. So when they come, you can experiment with making some colors a little bit darker, not colors, but values, and lighter.
Do they make one?
Yeah, so usually they come in even numbers, but they do have ones. They go all the way to 12 with darkness, and then they go the opposite, they go negative. So you can have, like, if you have an H, that's like a negative. So it gets lighter and lighter and lighter. So 6H would be lighter than 4H. But B's are like the positives. So B is like a 2B is this one, but a 4B would be darker, 8B even darker, 12B very dark. So that's kind of fun because you can make it really dark here. That's how, have you seen pencil drawings that look really lifelike? It's because they're using those different values, and it gives them like more tools to make their art look even better. All right, well, I'll pass around the pictures and then you can keep drawing it. You can sign your art if you want.